Well, here we go. It is a very special guest. Jermaine Copeland joins us along with Fred White. This is Celebrate 98, and it's brought to you by Tennessee Cider Company. I'll tell you more about them. But first, Fred, introduce our next guest. And he is
how I do it.
I don't know if he knows it or not, but he's like an all-time fan favorite.
Absolutely. Man, that's Jermaine Copeland. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing from Harriman, Tennessee, Jermaine Copeland. We call him J. Cope. That's my dog, baby. Hey, man, how you doing, man?
I've even got a little applause. I've got a little applause for our first in-state guy. What do you think of that, Jermaine? It's pretty
nice.
strong.
I like it. Yeah. Definitely.
Proud noise. Let's get going, baby.
Right. I know that's
Dave,
right.
man, I got to tell you, man, I'm enjoying doing these, 1998 celebration things, and Celebrate 98 is going to be big for us. I'm glad for our number one sponsor in Tennessee Cider Company. I appreciate those guys for being a part of it. But man, the most important thing to me is getting a chance to connect with my teammates. And let me tell you something, man. That right there is my brother. I talk about all my guys. That's my brother right there, man.
Right now.
That's my brother.
All
day long, man.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, because Fred has great relationships with everybody. He's a relationship person. Mm-hmm. But in particular, I can tell just from before we started and now on the show that you guys have a really close bond. The personalities mesh for whatever reason. Why is that, Jermaine? What's in the history there?
I'll tell you what, I really think, to tell you the truth, it's kind of crazy, man. I think that our friendship really kicked off, man, whenever we very first went, everybody came into school and we had morning runs. I'll never forget it. We had morning runs and we ran 10 110s. All right. Now we were just puppies. Never went through that before, ever. So it was new for every freshman that came out there. So we're out there running 110s and all the vets are watching. Me and Deuce, and no lie, were up top. I mean, me and Deuce was head to head going at it for all 10 of those 110s. Yeah. No questions asked. And whenever it was kind of all over, I just kind of felt where he was coming from. It's like he had something to prove. I had something to prove being in state. So it was like all of a sudden we just started chit-chatting, but next thing you know, we became best friends. I mean, we became family friends where he comes to church with me, where we used to come to grandma's to eat. He always used to want to come down to eat. I mean, we was just tight. Everywhere we went, we was always together. Like it didn't matter where I was going or where he was going. We ended up being together at some point. And that's just how tight we've been, and we've always been like that. We may not talk all the time, but we never skip a beat. I mean, we traveled together. Spring break was us. We've traveled all over the place together. I mean, that's just how tight me and Deuce are. We always have been, always will be.
Always, man. So for me, those 110s started it. That started it, right? Because all the rest of the guys were like, man, huffing and puffing, and we ran them things like it was nobody business, and was talking trash while we were running them. Like it was, hey man, how many more we got? Let's go. You want to do it again? Let's go.
So I know what 110s are, but for those that don't, describe it. 10 110s ain't fun.
It is what you call one of the worst. If you ain't in shape, it ain't what you want to see.
Yeah,
it's 110-yard sprints. And the time back then we had a time. I can't remember what our times were, but they were very low. It might have been like 13 or something like that.
13.
You had to run 110 yards in like 13 seconds.
Yeah.
And be back on the line in 30 seconds to run another one.
Yeah, right now. That's a quick turnaround. Yep. That makes everybody
30 seconds was your rest time, not a minute. 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Back on the line. Let's go.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so a couple of things with that is, one, Fred's viewed sometimes as just this hard-hitting free safety, and he reminds me from time to time that he ran, what was it, 10-2 100 meters.
I ran 10 200 meters. 10-1-8 was my fastest
10-1-8.
time.
I'm sorry. 2/100ths of a second there. See what he does to me, Jermaine?
Yeah.
People don't. I don't think people think of him as ultra fast because he played safety. He was a hard hitting guy, but man, Fred could run. Probably still can.
Yeah, that Deuce had some wheels. He really did. I mean, and he had that stride, man. He had full range of motion. He looked like he was a track star when he was running. You know, it's like he did a lot of track. Seemed like it to me whenever we was freshmen. I was just looking at his form and I was just like, dude, he's got such great form running. You know, I mean, but that cat could move. It was not like he was slow to come up and hit somebody. He was full go. He was one of them people that definitely had the jets behind him. I give it to him.
Well, that was the one thing that I did not like back when I was in high school, in college rather. When Peyton and those guys left, when they really started talking about me, they would always say he's a step slow. I'd be like, man, I'm one of the fastest DBs on the team. What are they talking about?
You line us up.
Line me up with any of these cats that we gonna ride. Hey, man, they gonna have their hands full trying to beat me.
Yeah,
guaranteed. I'm picking me to win, regardless.
Guaranteed. Yeah, he did have it like that. That is for sure. If they didn't know,
I couldn't believe people were like, he's a step slow. I'm like, from a 10-2, I might be a 10-4.
Yeah.
Well, and Fred, for those that don't know 110s too, that means you guys, if you were the head of the class, that you showed up in shape. And
absolutely,
definitely.
A lot of people
I came in early.
Yeah,
but I had just left the national championships for 100 meters out at Mount Sat in Sacramento. That's why I ran a 10-1-8. So when I first came to campus, I just ran a 10-1-8 like 2 weeks before.
There it is. I mean, I was in shape too. I mean, that's what I've been doing. I was in track. I just got out the state myself, you know, in the 4x1 and 330 hurdle. So I was good with running. Yeah, I was ready to go. It wasn't no playing around when I came in.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a lot to get to on the program today. When it comes to championships, Jermaine's won about all of them. Want to visit on that. The winning mentality that he brought to the entire program, being an in-state guy, some of the best times was like Florida, Arkansas game, and then probably get a little bit more into some stories about this really strong friendship that is evident. I don't know if there's stories you guys can tell or not, but I guess
it's a few. It's a few we can tell.
Yeah, without question.
We know what to leave out.
Good deal. Celebrate 98 brought to you by Tennessee Cider Company. In 30 seconds, we dive into what it meant for Jermaine to be an in-state player and have the ultimate success at Tennessee. Celebrate 98 brought to you by Tennessee Cider Company.
These mountains hold and defend a spirit far better than moonshine. A drink that holds flavor that becomes necessity. A hard cider made and relished by folk who are as hearty as they are legend. A refreshment that can only be found in one place. With a taste that makes you say, give me 3 bottles of the good stuff. Tennessee Cider Company, where necessity can be found.
So, Jermaine, over the years, we've talked a lot about the influence of the Georgia guys, and Tennessee doesn't win a national title if not for the influence of the Georgia guys like Fred and Cozy and Dion and Jamal Lewis. But I think the in-state guys certainly did a lot for that team as well, the 98 team. Talk about being an in-state player and what that meant to sign with Tennessee and have success with Tennessee.
Oh, it was great. I mean, you know, especially being in-state. I mean, I was a fan already. The 2 schools that I really had picked out was either going to Tennessee to play football or North Carolina to play basketball. You know, those were my choices that I had. And I'm talking about coming up from a youngster. And when those 2 letters came through, it was just a matter of which one I wanted to do. But I loved being in-state, and I've always been a diehard bleeding orange person. You know, it wasn't like I just went to school and all of a sudden became a big Vols fan. No. I was in state and I grew up on them. I grew up on Cobb. I grew up on Little Man. I grew up on all these cats that used to come through. That's pretty much Carl Pickens, all them cats. I was around watching these cats, you know, whenever I was younger. So I knew what Vol Nation was. I knew what it could bring. And once I got my opportunity, I mean, I was like excited like a kid in the candy store. You know, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. I was like, man, I get to stay at home. My folks will get to come and watch me play. They don't have to travel far. I mean, they ended up traveling across country anyway, whenever we had away games. But I was like, man, I get to be at home and play the game that I love to play, and hopefully do the best that I can to see what we can bring a championship back to the Vol country. We did what we had to do. 95, I ain't gonna lie, we had some good talent come through. I mean, you look at the stuff that we had back in 95, man. Al Wilson wasn't a linebacker, Al Wilson was a running back, and he was a lot smaller. I mean, he came in benching 225 one time, like he was with us. He was coming out. Antron Peebles, he was coming out of Murfreesboro, Riverdale, the biggest linebacker I'd ever seen in my life anyway. And I mean, it was crazy. So I'm like, man, we had talent in state, and that's one thing that Tennessee did do was recruit in state a lot too, as well out of state. So it was big for us to come in and make plays, and we had great leaders in front of us once we got there, and I think we just built it from there.
The other two, when we talk about in-state guys, Steve, what's his name? Big Chad Clifton.
Yeah, Chad, Spencer Riley.
Spencer Riley.
Yeah.
Hey, man, listen here. Spencer Riley, that's my brother too, boy. That's my brother, man. Hey. That class right there, that class we came in, we all hung out together.
Yeah.
We all balled together. We all pushed each other, and we didn't take no shit off each other. Like, look, man, get your ass up and go to class. Excuse me.
Right now.
But you know what I mean? Whatever it is, hey, man, you got to go take care of business. But we stay with each other all the time.
Yeah, we definitely pushed each other to the limit. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. And we were talking about something, Dave. Let me say this real quick.
Go for it.
One of the other reasons why me and Jermaine clicked like that, his family dynamic and my family dynamic, very similar. They went to their grandmother's house to eat Sunday dinner every Sunday. My hometown, we did the same thing, play cards, play spades, those type of things. And here's the other part. If Jermaine Copeland got in trouble, Fred White got in trouble. Yeah. Gerald Griffin got in trouble. Dwayne Goodrich got. Why? Because we all together. His daddy was all our daddy. His mama was all our mama. They didn't play no games with us. They treated us like we were their kids. Plain and simple.
Yeah. So was your family, the Copeland family, kind of the adoptive family where people can go if they need to? Is that?
I tell you what, we always had open doors, and that's for sure. Because a lot of guys didn't go home. A lot of guys couldn't go home. So what would they do? They come down and eat Sunday dinner with us. So I mean, we just had open doors. We got a big Christian background, and that's just the way my family was, man. We tight as I don't know what, but we always have open arms, and they loved all the guys on the team too. I mean, everybody that used to come was respectful, so they loved every last one of them like they was their own kids.
Absolutely. I remember one time Jermaine had to run out of practice. I never forget this. Your dad had showed up, and he showed up. He looked at me. He said, "Oh, you running too?" Because I know you was with him. I know you didn't go to school. So I had to go run with the team. I had to go run with Coach. Because he was like, I know you didn't go. I know y'all were together. Y'all too. Get over this.
So, wait. So Jermaine's I shows up and makes you all run after practice?
Yeah. I know you didn't go to class. He didn't go. I know if he didn't go, I know you didn't go. I know y'all were together.
Y'all was together. I know you were
Get
together.
over there.
You running with you.
For real. Mr. Donald, man, I swear. So for real.
I tell you what, Jermaine, when you've got the respect and friendship of a guy like Fred, who was as physical as anybody in the 90s, and you play wide receiver, that's supposed to be the sleek, sexy position, right? And you could do that, but you were telling me about you taking pride in intimidation blocks, and you had 17 against Florida. Good gracious. 17 intimidation blocks nowadays by a receiver, that's good in a whole season, much less a game.
Exactly. I said the thing was, intimidation blocks back then wasn't just getting you blocks. They had to be on the ground. Yep. Oh, if they don't touch the ground, it ain't intimidation. And that Florida game, I remember that. That was the Florida game, and I had a good day blocking. That's what I said. That I think that's what separated us as a national championship team, and I think that's what separates you as a championship player in general is whenever you can leave pride at the door. You know, in 97, I had a great year. That was my come out year as a receiver, right? Caught a lot of balls, had a lot of touchdowns. My senior year, I didn't get as many balls. You know, we didn't have a lot. I mean, I don't even think Peerless went over 1,000 yards by the end of the season, you know, and Cedric Wilson was a big part of us. He ended up making some plays. But one thing that we did, though, is no matter what, our run game was a big part of our offense. Our run game was where it was at. So we had to do what we had to do to win. I didn't worry about what my stats was. What I was worried about was if I can get on my man and put him on the ground, that's another extra 15 yards or wherever Travis or J. Lou went. Him or Travis Stevens, whichever one they got away. You know, so my whole focus was I'm gonna knock the head off as many people as I can, especially the Florida Gators, because I ain't like them anyway. So that's what it came down to.
You know, one of the things, Dave, that people don't understand also, since me and Coach used to always be paired against each other in practice.
We did a lot.
We did one-on-one drills, Tennessee drill, all that type of stuff. We were always going. And here's the thing. If you did not know we were best friends, you just thought we was enemies while we was on the football field.
On the practice field.
Because we didn't, man, I'm not going easy on you because you're my boy. I'm going harder because of that.
Exactly.
And if I get you, I got the brass right for the rest of the
day. Yeah, right now. I said the whole thing was, I tell you what, we ain't gonna make ourselves worse. We're gonna make ourselves better every time we step on the field. And that's one thing that I loved about 98 was we held ourselves accountable. Well, I'm talking about whenever it comes down to it, we was taught by the vets, you know, whenever you look back at T. Hines and all them cats that came through, man, them vets, they held you accountable for what you was about to do. And if you wasn't on the right level, they gonna let you know. And so we was like grown into that. So all of a sudden, that's what we carry on. And when we stepped on that practice field, didn't matter where we was at. Anytime we stepped between the lines, it was serious business. It wasn't no joking. We had so many receiver and DB fights, it's ridiculous. You know, I mean, that's just the way it went. But we was best friends whenever it came down to it. But while we're on that practice field, we're trying to make the best of each person out there. And that was our drive, and that's what we did.
Well, because if we playing against Florida or Arkansas or Georgia, hey, man, that safety over there ain't going to take it easy on you. If he got that shot, he's going to take it.
He's going to get everything he can out of you.
Exactly.
Fred, how quickly, and I'm going to ask a kind of a reverse question here in a second to Jermaine, but how quickly did Jermaine earn your respect from a toughness standpoint?
Oh, we earned my respect the first day when we did them doggone 10
when you did the 110.
Hey, man, look, you talk about having to be tough. Hey, man, you got to be tough to run 110s like that.
You sure do.
You got to be tough to run 10 110s, bro. In the Tennessee heat in the summer.
Yeah.
Bro, yeah, you got to be tough.
We had a lot of people throwing up. We had a lot of people throwing up.
And then the other thing was like when we worked out in the gym, we were always paired together.
Yeah.
Coach was stronger than me. I just had a little bit more endurance for us, like doing our reps and stuff. But he could lift more than I could. So say, for instance, he bench pressed, let's just say 315. He could do 315 probably, 5-6 times. I could possibly do 315, but I might be doing 2 times. But I could do 225, 15 to 18 times.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So it was I had more endurance in that part of it, but I ain't had the same strength in some of those. But we pushed each other every day.
Yes,
that was it. Just pushed each other every day.
Yep.
So it sounds like pretty quick, but Jermaine, I'm curious from being an in-state guy, how quickly the in-state guys accepted the guys from Georgia because you knew what they were bringing to the table. So how easy was that transition? Sounds like it's pretty easy.
Yeah, it is easy. I mean, once you sign that paper and you become part of a team, man, it's like lights on right now. It's like the lights get real bright and know that, hey, these guys, that's what we're all coming together for. We're family. We're trying to do what we can to help the university win a championship, trying to bring one back no matter where it's at. Win games. That's what we're about. And they came in ready to win games. We was already ready to win games. I mean, so all of a sudden you've got a connection that guys are wanting to win. And there ain't no backing down from that. You can't point no fingers and say nobody wasn't ready because everybody knew what was going on day one.
we was talking about winning the national championship the first day we ran.
Yeah,
so we gonna win the national championship. That was our whole focus in '95. We win the national championship.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Celebrate 98 brought to you by Tennessee Cider Company. Want to look back on some of those games, the Florida games, the Arkansas games, and some of your best times at Tennessee, Jermaine, if we can. So it's all brought to you by Tennessee Cider Company. You can check them out. It's very easy to do. As a matter of fact, all you got to do is look down below, tncidercompany.com, tncidercompany.com. In 30 seconds, we'll get to some of Jermaine's favorite moments from that 98 team. I'm still thinking the 17 intimidation blocks would be one of them. I mean, that's got to be right up there, because if you're the Florida receivers, like, stop it. No receiver blocks like this. Just stop.
They can watch the on film.
He came in as a quarterback, by the way.
I remember. Yeah, I mean, Jermaine Copeland. I actually probably knew Jermaine maybe a little bit before you, because I remember people being so excited that he was going to Tennessee, and they were like, "Is he going to play quarterback? Who cares?"
Yeah.
A local guy, because Jermaine, let's face it. I mean, a lot of local guys, for whatever reason, weren't as recruited as some people thought they should be, and they ended up elsewhere. That was the stigma in the 90s.
Yeah.
For you to not go elsewhere was a huge, huge deal.
It definitely felt good for me, to tell you the truth. You know, I mean, I didn't know how the outcome would be, but I was coming to compete. You know, I said my whole focus was, to tell you the truth, I was looking at it as a quarterback saying, hey, I get to be behind Peyton. You know, I just seen him his freshman year before and was like, okay, he's a young guy out there putting things together, and it looks like he's going to be a real good one. I was like, I get to get behind him, learn him a little bit, see what the ins and outs are, and take the best notes from Coach Cutcliffe that I could ever take, you know, because he definitely made me the player who I am. Coach Cut did, without question. And I was just like, it didn't matter where I got on the field. They put me at quarterback. I said, I'm cool, but you know, at some point, I just wanted to play ball. I was like, you know, I see my boys out there getting it. They're working hard. I'm working against them. I'm like, I just got to get on the field. So my junior year, that's whenever I decided to change. But, you know, if it would have been me playing quarterback, it would have been me playing quarterback. It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered to me where I played. They could have made me a DB or a kicker. I ain't care. You know, I did everything in high school.
No, I know you did. I remember. I remember. No doubt about it. 30 seconds, Tennessee Cider Company. Jermaine making the transition from a guy named Peyton Manning, you may know, to a guy named T. Martin and winning the national title. 30 seconds. Tennessee Cider Company, tncidercompany.com brings you Celebrate 98.
From the heat and cool off with some cold draft cider. With free samples on draft and lots of flavors to choose from, Tennessee Cider Company prepares a hard cider that's easy to enjoy. Made from our home, so you can take it to yours. Add us to your list for shopping and fun experiences. You'll be glad you made the trip. Find our cidery in the Mountain Mall on the Gatlinburg Parkway. Sip smart. Sip the good stuff. Sip Tennessee Cider Company.
So it is Celebrate 98, brought to you by Tennessee Cider Company. He's Jermaine Copeland. I'm Dave Hooker. You know Fred White. He's the man. Jermaine, so you go from a guy in Peyton Manning to T. Martin. Specifically, what was that transition like for you? Because they're different quarterbacks, both very good, but different skill sets.
They definitely have different skill sets. You know, to me, Peyton was really more of a pocket passer. I mean, don't get me wrong, he could throw on the run, but he made a lot of fast decisions, and, you know, that's what he needed. But T, to me, tell you the truth, was what we needed in 98. And the reason why I say that is because T could do what Peyton couldn't do when it comes to taking off, making a man miss, getting outside the pocket, having to take off whenever he needed to. That's why we became more a blocking receiver core whenever it comes to scramble drill, because T could run, you know, and there was a lot of times that it was 3rd and short, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. Whenever you go back and look at these games that we played, that we may not have had our run game going to perfection, but T's legs bailed us out a lot. He had a great deep ball, without question, had a great touch, and that's really all that really mattered when it comes down to it, because our run game was so strong. You know, our run game was real strong in 98, and the more we could get you to come up in the box, that's when we attack over top of you. You know, he had a good stretch where he pretty much broke the record of being consecutive passes being caught, you know, throughout that year. So it ain't like he wasn't throwing completions. You know, he was a smart quarterback, but T could use his legs. And if you really look at it, a lot of quarterbacks today, to win a national championship, you've got to be able to use your legs, especially in the SEC. Because in the SEC, you can't sit in that pocket. Those guys are coming, and they're going to keep coming. And if you're sitting there, you're just going to be taking hits, taking sacks, taking fumbles. And we needed that in 98. We needed somebody that could scramble, that could get away from people, that could turn a small play or nothing into something. And that's what T brought.
And that first game of the season we played against Syracuse, if he doesn't break that run, I don't know if we win that game.
Well, it'd be dead.
Breaks that run to get us in, you know, then we go down and get in field goal range and win the game.
Yeah.
That play was one of the best plays. And it kind of set the tone for the rest of the season to let you know, okay, he can actually get out of the pocket and get going. And we knew that. We saw it in practice every day.
Right.
But the other thing was that I don't think they opened the offense up for T until later in the season.
Yeah. T will tell you that too. T will tell you that too.
Yeah. I think we understand it, you know, but we were waiting on him to get more opportunity. Yeah. Hey, man, open the offense up a little bit more. We got receivers, we got the running backs, and T can run.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine us in this offense.
I think the big reason for them not opening it, though, was because it was T's first year on the field. Yeah. You know, and you have to see what he could do. Yeah. You can't put too much on his plate as a youngster stepping out on the field in the SEC, baby, going. I mean, we started off versus McNabb. You know what I mean? Like we started off with Syracuse, a team that was real good. You know, I mean, so you can't give him too much on his plate as a young quarterback stepping out there. And I think that over the few games that we had in the first part of the season, T started building their confidence, and they started understanding that T can pick this thing up, and we can make a lot more, you know, we can open our offense a lot more than what we was doing. So I think it was just held back because he was young stepping on the field.
You know, Jermaine Copeland was one, when you talk about hands. Hands. One of the best hands, in my opinion, the best hands I ever seen at Tennessee.
Wow.
My opinion. That's my opinion. That's a lot of guys that played with me opinions. Best hands I ever seen. There's a pass in that game, that Syracuse game. There was a high pass in the corner of the end zone. And you know Jermaine was a basketball guy. He went up and got that thing. He caught that ball with his fingertip. And fell on his back was the first thing to hit the ground. Landed out of bounds.
Right.
And if you go watch the play, man, he went up and got that thing like he just kept rising like an elevator. He caught that thing with fingertips, not the whole ball, fingertips. And he brought that thing in. Man, that's still to this day is one of my favorite catches ever. Even though he didn't come down in bounds with it. It didn't matter. Right. He caught that thing. Like, hey, he caught that.
Yeah. How much of that is a mindset of I'm going to go up and get the ball, and really probably speaks to the fact that you have, as Fred pointed out, won a championship at every single level.
Yeah, I that is a mindset that I've always had. You know, I get teased a lot by, especially a lot of the older vets that played DB whenever we was at Tennessee, you know, like Shane Becknall and all them cats. They always used to tease me because whenever I first came in to Tennessee, I was a legit 4-5 guy. You know, I was low, 4'9", somewhere around in there. I was pretty that way fast. But as I stayed at quarterback, I didn't get to rotate my legs as much. You know, I wasn't running the way I used to run whenever I was in high school. Because if you think back to high school, whenever I was there, I had to do a lot of stuff. So I just gained a little bit more weight and muscle, and my speed wasn't always there. But whenever I went to receiver, you know, I knew that guys like Peerless, you know, Marcus, Joey, all them guys are a lot faster, you know. But my job was, it didn't matter if I could get a small space where the ball can be thrown to me. The difference that I got to set myself up between anybody else is it doesn't matter where the ball's at. If I get my hands on it, you're in trouble. I don't care how well your defense is. I don't care if you got me covered. It doesn't matter. But my mindset was always anything thrown in my direction, call me area code, baby, because I'm going to put my hands on it and I'm bringing it down. I mean, now, don't get me wrong. Everybody has a mishap where you might drop one or two, but majority of the time, I was coming down with that ball. That's guaranteed. I was gonna make sure I had my hands on it. And I was gonna be the one pulling it in.
And I don't care if it's a DB draped all. I'm telling you right now, I used to have some frustrating days in practice. I'm all over Jermaine Copeland. I don't ran the route almost for him. The ball comes, and I'm trying to get. He done caught it. I'm trying to feel. How you catch that ball? Most of
the time, y'all was trying to strip it out of my hands once I had my hands on it. Y'all trying to pull it out. Like, let the ball go. Let the damn ball go.
I'm like, man, how did he catch that? He caught it. I can't believe he caught that ball. He catches it every time, though. Come down with it every time.
Oh, goodness. Classic.
I want to ask Jermaine about giving up his, because he talked about it. He was so selfless, but giving up his quarterback playing days. I remind you that Celebrate 98 is brought to you by Tennessee Cider Company. Go to tncidercompany.com. We appreciate them. Can't say thank you enough for making this possible. We've talked with a ton of balls so far. This is definitely one of my favorites, being a Tennessee guy. So this is super cool. 30 seconds. We're back with Jermaine Copeland, Celebrate 98, and Fred White.
A hard cider that's easy to enjoy, one that's crafted to perfection. You need Tennessee Cider Company. Some say it's the signature cider of the South. Others say it's the cure to your craving. They all say you'll savor every sip. With a selection of ciders free to sample, all it takes is one taste. Visit tncidercompany.com for more information, as well as to shop our ciders and merchandise online. Thirsty yet? Doors open at 10 a.m.
Welcome back with Jermaine Copeland and Fred White. It is Celebrate 98, brought to you by Tennessee Cider Company. And Fred, you pointed out to me, this guy Jermaine Copeland's won a ton of championships. How many?
Man, I stopped counting. Let me see. High school, that was basketball and football, right?
Football, football came in second.
Football came in
second.
Remember,
I got injured.
Right? Go figure.
Yeah, I got hurt.
National championship at Tennessee.
Yeah, 2 SEC championships.
NFL Europe.
Yep, leading receiver.
Won the championship.
XFL.
Yep,
championship.
Won the championship.
CFL.
The next year was CFL.
Championship.
Won the championship.
Yep.
He won the championship for every team and every level he's played on. I mean, go figure that.
Good time.
Right?
Good
I mean,
time.
that's not just luck. That's you getting the job done yourself and taking care of business. And also, man, it's written in the cards in the books for you. You know what I mean? And I remember, I got to talk about the XFL. I remember we were both training and working out, trying to get ready for the XFL.
Yeah.
And man, we worked out every night. There was a guy. What's Todd's last name? You remember Todd, the quarterback?
Oh, I don't remember his last name though. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So we had a guy that we played. This is hilarious, by the way. We're training, trying to get ready to go back. So they had a flag football league in Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dave, me and Jermaine Copeland should have never been on that flag football.
No, league. You shouldn't have. I didn't like where this was going from the get, because I officiated intramurals, and I would sneak over and I would watch Jermaine throw it down playing basketball.
Yeah.
And you guys should not be allowed on any flag football team anywhere, especially amongst a bunch of dudes just running around. That's just, I'd blame unfair.
So a quarterback, he was a pretty good quarterback too. Todd was a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, he was.
Todd threw the ball over to Jermaine Copeland on like a screen. Like, this is the first time we've ever played flag football. We don't know. We coming from real football. We play football. So I am lead blocking for Jermaine.
Oh.
Did not know you couldn't touch the guys. I don't push down like 3 people down. Every referee had a flag out on the field.
Hey,
we had no idea. We're high-fiving and everything, celebrating the end zone. They're like, man, you can't do that.
Well, I mean, they've kind of got a point. I mean, the officials kind of have a point. Here you are running your 10-3 and your physical and you're benching 315. And again, just a bunch of dudes out there compared to real athletes.
That was classic, dude. We was like we still act like we just y'all ain't want us out here. We killing y'all. We gonna kill y'all all day. We done ran through with a lead blocker.
Yeah, and I don't know who this Todd guy is that played quarterback, but if I got you two, I'm going to be Tom Brady is what I'm going to be.
Oh, yeah, he was.
He kind of was. He was.
All we had to do was get the ball in our hand. It was over.
Hey, I said a lot of times, man. I said I won't forget it, man. We'd be up there on that mountain, and Todd be like, "Hey, coach, just go deep." I'm like, all right, I'm gonna run. You just throw it.
Just throw it.
Yeah, I could do that. And then there's supposedly a spring break story. I don't know that, Fred, how deep we can get into this.
Hold on, Dave. It's a few spring break stories.
Okay,
we've had a few.
We need the
I got a couple good ones though. Good ones.
Don't get me in trouble with Jeff Bezos here. I think we need the family friendly ones.
So I never forget this. It's so significant because I gotta say the dollar amount, Coach.
Oh yeah.
Because to these kids these days, they wouldn't even know what that means.
Right.
Listen, Jermaine's mom gave him $100.
Mm-hmm.
We are now still Tennessee, Harriman, Tennessee, on our way to. So I got to go to Griffin, Georgia, and get $100 from my mama. We didn't have cash out, Brazil and Venmo, none of that stuff, right? So I had to physically pick up the cash from my mama. So we have $200 between us. And we are going to Panama City for spring break.
Yeah.
We got $200 between us.
That's it. Look.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
You got a room reservation or
no? Nothing.
Your parents should have been more thoroughly questioned about that.
I said it's kind of crazy because we was actually in the dorm, and guys were leaving, going home to family, etc. Some were going to spring break, and me and Deuce just kind of looked at each other and was like, "Man, let's go to spring break, man." He was like, Deuce was like, "I ain't got no money." I said, "I ain't either." But look, I might be able to get $100. And he was like, "Well, maybe I get $100." And we was like, "Well, let's just go down and look. If we got $200, we can go down there and spend one night. Hey, say we came to spring break, have us a good little time, and head back." That's the way it goes. Now go ahead and finish the story, Deuce.
So this is how Jermaine Copeland got his introduction to Griffin, Georgia, too, by the way. Right? So my mom tells me, "I'll give you $50. So I had to talk to my cousin to get the other 50. So in order for me to talk to my cousin, we had to go to a club in Griffin because he was the DJ. So when we walked to the door, right, and Jermaine has never been to Griffin before. He ain't know how we grew up in Griffin or nothing, right? So when we get to the door, everybody knows me, but he didn't realize everybody knew him too. Because everybody in Griffin watched Tennessee play. So they're like, "That's Jermaine Copeland. That's Jermaine Copeland." Listen, the club was so, I don't know if you can use this word anymore, crunk, lit, whatever you call it. It was lit.
Yes.
Jermaine was like, "I'm not going in there."
But look, they had one exit. One way in.
One exit. One way in,
out.
One way out.
That's called a fire hazard.
Hey, I walked in and I looked around and it was jumping. But I looked around coming in and was like, "Oh no, we ain't supposed to be up in here. This is where we supposed to be at. I don't know where you doing."
So my cousin sends the homeboys to go get Jermaine because he wouldn't come through the door.
I wouldn't come in.
Surround them like a security guard, like they security guards, and they walk through the crowd. The whole crowd just dispersed.
Move.
Jermaine can walk in.
They moved. They
moved.
Like they came and got me because everybody walked through. Deuce now turned around. I was still at the door. I'm the only one that's not coming in. I was like, "I'm not going in there. Nope, I don't. This don't look good. This is scary. This is a scary situation." Hey, when they came over, I was like, "You good? You come on, come with us." all of a sudden, it's like the floors opened up, like Moses had just parted the Red Sea. And I mean, everybody was just moving. I was like, okay, all right. I think they scared of these, man. They scared of all these cats right here.
The club owner was like, he was treating us like we were superstars. He was like, you brought Jermaine Copeland? You brought Jermaine Copeland to Griffin? I'm like, man, that's my brother.
Right.
But, so that trip made us even closer.
Yeah.
And then we leave. We're driving from Georgia to Alabama, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, it was on the way back, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was on the way back.
I'm kind of calculating in my head how much money you've spent. So in gas alone, were you able to get down there and back?
Gas was cheap then. Remember, it was like 99 cents.
It wasn't expensive. Yeah,
it wasn't cheap. It was cheap.
Yeah,
it was just regular gas. We didn't have no premium.
You know what?
It was leaded.
It was.
That's what it was. Man. It was leaded.
So we're
straight up diesel.
We're on our way back from Alabama right now. We got Tennessee stuff on the car. You know, we Tennessee athletes. We're leaving Panama City. Now, keep in mind, we went down there to stay for a weekend and stayed the whole week.
The whole week.
Well, I knew you would. Week. I knew you would stay the whole week.
Some of those stories I can't tell.
Yeah, right. Right. But it was free.
The one story I'm going to tell is when we were on our way back. Let me tell y'all something, man. You talk about two boys that were scared. Hey, man, we're leaving on our way back. It is dark. We're in Alabama, in backwoods, Alabama. It's not a major interstate. It's like a 2-lane road.
Yeah.
Hey, man, a cop got behind us. We weren't speeding. We were too scared to speed. We weren't speeding. But before we left, I can't remember. Somebody put a Bible in the car. I think it might have been your mom. Put that Bible in the car.
Yeah.
And we always had some gospel CDs or whatever, right? Man, let me tell you something. That cop got behind us, and we're in the middle of nowhere. Bro, I'm talking about in the middle of nowhere. I don't see no houses. I don't see no light. Man, when that cop got behind us, me and Cope looked at each other. I said, hey, man, you going to pull over? He said, not out here.
Not here.
We're going to wait till we get some light. I'm telling you something. I think that cop followed us with his lights on for like 5 miles.
At least 5 miles.
And then we saw
we did not speed away from it. We just kept
right on the same speed. When we got to the gas station, that dude pulled up on us. He was like, did y'all not see me back there? Man, listen, we are in there having a whole praise break. We
done put church music on.
And we singing church music. We got a Bible in our hand.
Gold.
We didn't get no ticket that night.
Hey, it's like we are going to serve the Lord in this car, so he knows.
We're not listening to rap music, sir. We listen to gospel.
No, I've never even heard of this rap music that you speak of.
We don't even know what that is, sir.
Yes. No, I hear about this devil's music from my bad friends, but I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know, praise God. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Did you give it a good hallelujah when you drove off?
Hey, man, you have no idea.
Thank you, Jesus. Yes, we did. Thank you, Lord. Get us out of that one.
We did not. That was the one thing you did not want to come back. We don't had a whole great week. Now you can't come back and get no speeding ticket in Alabama.
I know that's right.
And we weren't even speeding. We weren't speeding.
We wasn't even speeding.
Like I said, we were too scared to speed. We in Alabama. Backwoods, Alabama. Why are we gonna speed?
Yeah, that was scary, but it was a good time though. Now that it's all over.
Cope, that weekend turned into a great week.
It did. It did.
If those hurricanes didn't come through there, I'm pretty sure our names will still be on that wall in there.
Yes, because we did turn it out. We turned it out down there on that beach.
Yeah, we enjoyed every minute of it. With $200.
With $200.
Guys, great stuff. Anything else? Good. Anything else you want to add, Fred, before we let Jermaine go preach the gospel to other people out there?
I want to talk about one thing real quick. That's our brotherhood and our bond. You kind of you can tell some of the stories we talk about, little events we did and things places we've been together. And that was the time where The next year after, because Jermaine came out before I did. I redshirted.
Mm-hmm.
So I had never been to spring break before. That year before you was a senior, we went to spring break. That was my first time ever going.
Mm-hmm.
And then I never forget, the next year is myself and Gerald Griffin. And we're sitting in Gibbs trying to figure out what we're going to do for spring break, and we don't have enough money to go home. And Cope calls, hey, man, what y'all doing?
Uh-huh.
When he called, he was like, man, we going to spring break. We looked at each other like, we don't have no money, bro. Don't worry about it, man. We going spring break anyway. Jermaine Copeland came, picked up myself and Gerald Griffin, and we rolled down. We rolled down. You were training in Florida.
Yep.
He came back to Knoxville to drive us down to Panama City to go hang out for spring break. Because, man, he knew we didn't have no money to do it, and he wanted to make sure the boys had a good time. And I remember, I never forget, we ran into the kicker for Florida State. Sebastian Janikowski.
Yeah, Janikowski. Uh-huh.
He hung out with us while we were down there, man. That dude right there, something else. He told us he was going to come hang out with us the next day. He knocked on we probably just got in about when the sun was coming up, 6 o'clock in the morning. He knocked on the door at like 8:30 in the morning. We just left him, right? just left him. He was with us the whole time. He just came in when the sun came up too. He came to our room at 8:30 in the morning with a bottle of Sky Blue vodka. We looked at him like, hey, man, you got to come back.
We like, what are you? Hold on. We ain't trying to keep doing that right now.
No. Hey, man, we got to go to sleep for a few minutes.
We got to rest some.
I mean,
it's like a full-on liver check is what that was.
You know, he was Polish, so, you know, they drink like that anyway.
That for a while.
Man, he was like, hey, 8:30, not on the door at 8:30. We're like, no, man, what you doing? What you doing, man? We can't do that.
Yeah, right. I'm good. No. Catch us in about 6 hours after we get some rest.
I know, right? I need a little breakfast or something too, man. Dude, what you thinking?
Let me get this straight. So, Jermaine, you were training and you drove up to get them from where and drove back to Panama City?
Fort Lauderdale. I was working out at the fast camp in Florida. Yes,
Fort Lauderdale, that's South Florida.
Yeah, I was working out at fast camp in Florida, man, and ended up coming all the way back to Tennessee and grabbed my boys and going to spring break.
Yeah,
wow.
I knew they was going to be there, and I knew they wasn't going to be doing much. You know, I just knew that based off of what we did the year before.
Exactly.
So I was like, man, I wanted them to still have a good time, man. And I wanted them to be with me. You know, I was like, I wasn't doing nothing, so I want to go have some fun. And I know they'd definitely be on board. So I made a phone call, and they was with it.
That's a pretty good friend there, Fred. He's in the car. I'm doing the math real quick in my head. Over 24 hours to take you guys to spring break.
Yeah,
that's my family. That's my brothers. That's how tight we work.
And that's my brother.
Exactly.
Forever. You have no idea. There's a lot of stories about that whole week. The first year, it's a lot of stories we can't even. I haven't told, and I ain't gonna. That's our stories.
Yeah, right.
Then, and then the second year we go down, it's even more stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's hey man, you have no idea. I think that's the one thing that people don't understand.
Yeah.
When you play with a group like these guys, the closeness that we have with each other, the family bond that we have with each other. When we talk about unbreakable bonds, hey man, how can I ever break a bond with a guy who came 20-some hours to come get me, bro? I mean, he came and got me from Florida and went back to Florida, and then brought me back to school, bro.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually more like 48 hours in a car.
Yeah.
Did you go back to Fort Lauderdale?
Right. It didn't matter to me. It didn't matter to me one bit. Tell you the truth. Went back down there to work out.
Yeah, those are unbreakable bonds. Like we have, and it's Cope got those stories with Gerald. He got those stories with other guys on the team. I had the same stories with other guys on the team. The guys just looked out for you like that. But it wasn't because you knew the next guy didn't have. You knew it.
Exactly.
This group that we played with, if we had the opportunities these guys have right now to get money like they're getting it, I don't think it'll be a person on our team that don't have something. Because every guy on the team that's making money gonna make sure they people straight.
They added that.
I'm gonna make sure you got new clothes and new shoes. I'm gonna make sure you got food. make sure you got something to drop. If you getting that type of money, back then for us, it was all about our squad. Listen, we went everywhere together. Everywhere.
Yeah.
If I had $5, we had $5.
Right, exactly.
If he had $10, we had $10. That wasn't just us. That's the entire team.
Yeah.
So when people talk about chemistry, you can't put chemistry together. You can't just. Prime example: the Washington Redskins. They're now the Commanders, which they may lose that name too. But they would go out and sign all these free agents. And on paper, they're the best football team in the NFL. But one thing they didn't have, they couldn't play with each other. They didn't have any continuity. They didn't have any chemistry. That chemistry makes up for everything else.
Sure
everything.
Does.
You know how hard I go work out for Coach because of the things we've done for each other? And if he tell me I'm slacking, or where you at today?
Right.
He obviously telling me something I'm supposed to hear. You know why he telling me that? Because he know me. He's seen me work out. He's seen me go hard. But if I ain't going hard, he gonna be able to tell me that. And you know why I'm gonna listen? Because I know he know me too. And I don't want to disappoint him. That's how you win championships. Those things like the accountability that I'm not gonna let my teammate down. Hey man, I didn't just play for myself. I didn't just play for my mom and my family at home in Griffin. I played for my teammates, the dude that was sitting right beside me.
Right. Sure
and we all did. You didn't. The one thing you did not want to hear as a player on our squad is that hey man, you ain't going hard. Hey man, that's like a slap in the face. For real, bro. Hey man. And everybody here, bruh, you better get it together.
Better get it together.
You better get it together real quick.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to disappoint the teammates.
So, Jermaine, what are you up to nowadays?
I actually got my facility open, Next Level Performance in Olive Springs right now. It's 36,000 square feet. It's a training facility. You know, I'm over football operations there, so I'm skill positions, training, something that I've always wanted to bring around this area, you know, around my county anyway, because we're not like Nashville. We're not like these other big cities where kids get to go and have a place to train and work out and try to make their skill set better and just not living off athleticism. But we've had a lot of athletes come through my town. You know, a lot of guys that are real good football players that didn't get an opportunity to play at the next level. And I'm not even just talking about University of Tennessee. I'm talking about D1 or D2. It doesn't matter. You know, just a matter of getting a chance to play at the next level and get a free education while you're doing it. You know, and we've had kids that are able to do that, but the kids around here don't get taught much, right? So the skill level that they have to carry on, they don't have. They're all athletes. They're athletic, but they don't have the skill set. They don't have the basics. So I've finally gotten with Terry Hill, who is the main owner. We're actually got our facility is now up and running. We have been training for the past few weeks. It's going real well, you know, and I know it ain't going to do nothing but get better. We actually got a skills position camp coming up July 15th. It's going to be one of our first camps that we're going to have, that we're going to open the doors for everyone to come in and see what we're bringing to the level. And I said the thing about this is I'm bringing something different than a lot of other facilities have. You know, we're going to have ACT prep in there. You know, we've got physical therapy, etc. We've got a lot going on in our facilities. It's going to be based on for a lot of the kids. And a lot of the kids that we're looking to get out, we're going to have combine training. We got combines that's going to come to our facilities, you know, where we put on a combine for kids that are maybe the top 3 athletes on the team around here in Morgan County, Anderson County, Knox County, you know, and we'll put our own little combine together for that with the coaches so they can just come to next level and watch them right there. But that's a little bit that I've been working on, and I finally got it up and running, and it's off the ground. And I mean, I couldn't be more happy. You know what I mean? It's something that I've always wanted to do. I love teaching. I love increasing kids' skill sets. And there's a lot of them around here, a lot of them around Knoxville, around Oak Ridge, etc., around this Morgan County area, Scott County area that need that little extra skill set put in to becoming a decent player. You know, I'm not promising that we're going to put you in the NFL. But what I will promise is that one thing we will do is make you better than what you were before you came in the doors. And that's what it's all about, trying to make kids better than what they are, giving them the chance to make a step to the next level, no matter where it's at Athletic State, no matter where it's at, no matter where you're playing ball, Carson Newman, full rides. It doesn't matter. As long as you get a chance to get that full ride to school or get most of that ride to school and get a chance to still play football, you're getting to do what you love to do. And if your mindset ain't there, as far as trying to be that type person, then you probably should be playing the game in the first place. So that's just pretty much what it comes down to. I always try to tell my kids, I was like, it doesn't matter where you go. Everybody wants to go to Tennessee. You want to go to Georgia. You want to go to Florida, Bama, etc. It doesn't matter where you go. If you putting on your skill set and your skill set stands up and above the people that are around you, you're going to get seen. It doesn't matter where you at. They've got people that they pay to come and find you. That's what they're there for. So it's not all about where you go. It's a matter of what you put into it. And that's one thing that I'm trying to bring around here. And that's one thing that I've gotten started. And I'm looking forward to it and seeing how far it goes and how well it's going to be. But it's been a lot of fun starting off.
And Dave, before we get off, one last story I want to tell. We were getting ready for the XFL and we were training, and rain, sleet, or snow. Even if it was snow, because we had the guy Todd was a quarterback. He said, man, if y'all want to go, I'm going. It'd be rainy, it'd be muddy. We didn't miss a beat, bro. We didn't miss. We worked out every day. Every day, 7 o'clock on the field. We did one-on-one drills every day. Yeah. This is the coolest, one of the coolest things for me too, by the way. And I don't even know if you remember this, Coach. So I was in Birmingham playing for the Birmingham Thunderbolts, and Coach was in LA, and we had already circled the thing when we were gonna play them and everything. So I ended up getting injured. I tore my MCL. Yeah. So I'm thinking I'm gonna get a chance to rehab with the team. No, they cut me. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know that was gonna happen. They had told me they were gonna keep me there to train or whatever. Then they cut me. They cut me the week we were playing against Copeland. Yeah. They cut me. Mm-hmm. Listen, man, I called Cope and told him they cut me. Let me tell y'all. So I got this fan base. You talk about my brother. That's my brother. You hear me? He went down to Birmingham and put on a show. You hear me? When I say put on a show, and he was telling them about that stuff. Y'all should have cut my brother. Y'all should have cut my brother. Listen, man. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, Birmingham signed me back. And every dude on the team was like, bro, your dude was giving us the business during the game. And he was just saying, he kept talking about you the whole game. He was like, y'all should have cut my brother. I ain't got no chance to guard me now. Y'all cut Fred. That's the only person that could guard me. I'm going to tell y'all, he had like 200-some yards and 3 touchdowns or whatever it was. He lit them up.
Yeah, I think would that have been around mid-February 2001 when you were named the Offensive Player of the Week? 17 passes for 190 yards. Does that sound
right?
That's it.
Yeah, that was the very first game of the season. That one was. But yeah,
that was the first game of the season.
I had a good one down there in Birmingham too, though. But that one right there was because we came from behind.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. I pulled the wrong game. Yeah. But we'll go, how about 25 catches for 400 yards? I mean, nobody's going to check us. How about that, Fred?
That would have been a nice one, wouldn't it?
So, man, but that's that bond we got that, like, literally, they cut me. My boy, my brother, my best friend went out and showed out on them.
I sure did.
When he showed out on them so bad. They talked so much that they signed me back. Yeah. Like, hey, man, we need you.
Yeah.
Just in case we make it to the playoffs, we got to play them. We need you back.
That's the God's honest truth. And I was talking mad trash. Like, y'all done let go of the only person who knew me.
and blow him out.
The question is, Fred, did you give him any hints about that upcoming week?
Oh, no, he just told me. He just told me
I just told him I got cut.
Okay.
They got cut.
There's no coverage hints or anything like that.
No. He didn't even need it.
Don't need it.
He didn't.
Whoever steps in front's got to get in trouble. Whoever getting in front of me is in trouble because if Deuce ain't there, y'all in trouble.
And I was I'm watching the game. I can see him talking trash. I didn't know what he was saying to when I got back down there 2 weeks later. They were like, "Man, your boy was going off, man."
Yeah, I got pushed a lot that game. They was mad because I was talking in their face. So I got pushed around a lot. They was pushing me, get out of my face. Well, you the ones that let it cut him. That's y'all's fault. You getting it today.
You get it today. And every dude on the team, like, dude, I didn't know y'all was that cool. That's my brother.
All day.
Y'all don't know how long we've been had this circle.
Yeah,
we've been waiting for this game.
I know that's right. Yeah, we sure did. We did.
Yep. And y'all cut me. I'm thinking the whole time, okay, 4 weeks I'll be back.
Right.
Okay, they cut me 2 weeks in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, dang, in 4 weeks I'll be almost healed.
Yeah,
and that's and we played them in 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That was my whole thought process. Be ready for that game. They cut me. Yeah. And when they did, it was the biggest mistake they ever made. Because he went out there and told A butts up. You hear me? I still laugh about that to this day. Because I'm like, man, my boy went out there. He gave it to him. And told them about themselves.
So did.
For some reason, that reminds me of Muhammad Ali keep saying, "What's my name?"
Yeah.
What's my name?
Say it.
Say it.
My name?
Say it.
He went out there and gave it to him. I still, man, that for me, that was like, that's my dog.
All day.
That's my brother right there.
Yes.
Great stuff. Celebrate.
It's one of those things where if he called me, and most of my teammates the same way, but if he called me and need me, I don't care what side of the country he on, I'm coming. I'm on my way, bro.
Right now.
I'll be there in a minute.
Exactly.
Yes,
That's
sir.
the way we are.
Yep.
Yeah. That's it.
Fantastic. He is Jermaine Copeland. I'm Dave Hooker. Click that like and subscribe button. Fred doing just an absolutely unbelievable job of lining the guys up. And it's so neat 25 years later to be able to visit with you guys. It's just a pleasure. And it's all brought to you by Tennessee Cider Company. Go to tncidercompany.com for Jermaine Copeland and Fred White. I'm Dave Hooker. There we go. Presentation of Off Duck Sports.